go live in just a bit here. Okay, I think I'm live. Even though I just dipped off camera to grab a quick gulp. All right, let me refresh chat here. Give me just a second. Oh, and if you're wondering, I did just try to have a members stream, and I think I figured out what the problem was. I had a Bluetooth headphone in, and the microphone was trying to go through the Bluetooth headphone, so it was pretty garbage. I stopped it. I brought it down, and it was straight trash. Sorry about that, guys. Pretty much what I was just encouraging is like for people to join. Number one, I had some people asking. Hold on, oh yeah, I'm coming in good. I had people asking. Some people were asking why they were suddenly a member. I let them know that you need to thank Trustavius. And then I had some people who've recently messaged me who said that they wanted to join a stream, but they didn't know enough about my channel or me, or that they've never joined a stream before, so they felt awkward doing so. And I wanted to kind of just jump out there and say, like, look, the streams, they're really not about me. They're more about us just hanging out as friends. Sorry, my cat just jumped down. It was like the loudest plump ever. And if you join, it's not going to be like how much unrested lore do you know type quiz time. It's going to be, hey, welcome to the stream. We're all friends here. We hang out as friends. No one's here like as a viewer. No one's here as a member. No one here is a subscriber. They are friends. We're here to hang out as friends. It's more about just us rather than me when it comes to my streams. Sometimes it's about Osoroshi, where we watch something scary, but even then, it's not about me or you guys. Then it becomes about scary stories. Hold on, let me do a chat capture. I'm gonna fix that up. Pop out. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Oh, what's up? Josh, welcome to the stream. John, Jonah, welcome to the stream. DJ, welcome to the stream. My tiny Neko down here, welcome to the stream. Sweet baby, so fat. He's such a fat cat now. Forgive me as I dip off screen. You can see I'm just grabbing a drink there, getting a quick drink. But yeah, J-Vlog lore Jeopardy would actually be pretty sick. Yeah, I guess that would be kind of interesting. It would be interesting to know like how much people. Sometimes people do say stuff where I'm just like, oh yeah, I did make a video about that, or like, so like I forget. Someone told me the other day. They're like, I started watching you in the Okinawa videos, and I was like, oh yeah, I made 1 week of videos when I was visiting Okinawa. Like, I love hearing stuff like that because number one, it means I have somebody who's stuck around for a really long time, and like that's a huge reward of being a long-term YouTuber. But I just want to make sure I don't roll over my cat when I roll. But there's some really interesting stuff sometimes. Like there was another one the other day. Someone said, "Remember when you were in that park and that old guy started peeing in the park and you yelled at him in Japanese?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I did have a video where an old guy started peeing in a little kid's park, like on the ground of the park." And I was like, "Dude, what are you doing? That's disgusting. Little kids play here." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right." And like that, I don't know, that kind of stuff. Like even for me, I find out lore about my videos that I'm like, oh yeah, I can't believe I made a video. I guess that's what happens when you've made like 1,000+ videos. You like get reminded of stuff that you're like, oh yeah. Let's see. Core Unrest Team. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever make I had a group called the Unrest Team a long time ago where it was like 4 or 5 guys who, and they're still my friends to this day. They're awesome dudes. They're like the nicest bunch of dudes ever, but they've kind of I think one just had a kid, one's married. I think one's doing like a really hardcore computer-based career. And oh, and one other, one, you guys see him jump on here once in a while, Dan Lee. Um, those are some of the people that were the unrest team, and they're such a good group, like genuinely good dudes. Almost all of them. Oh wait, and there's also shoot, I'm forgetting one of their names right now. Um, almost all of them actually had come to Japan and we've met up before. So, um, Shogun, is Shogun on right now? Oh, non-winner's on. I always have like, this is what I love. How did you do? Wait, how did you do that? How did I do what? What were you asking how I did something, DJ? But okay, so I did just try to start a members live real quick for you guys, and you can't do it through OBS. OBS does not have the option, so it's kind of annoying. Um, that dude who always chip tooth, yeah, chip tooth. I think I'm gonna explain to you guys why he's always typing in all caps. Um, So when you use a keyboard that can type in both languages, I don't have it right here. I could show you my son's computer, and it has hiragana all over it. And you run into this kind of really annoying thing where every time you try to type in English on a keyboard like that, it wants to switch it into Romaji. So let's say you say um, Scott, right? You start typing the name SC, and it's like, oh, you're trying to type ski, and like it turns it into a Romaji or kanji um, character. And so to avoid that from happening, if you just hit caps and you only type in all caps, it thinks you're trying to type an abbreviation and continues to let you only type in English. And that guy, I think he speaks like chiptooth. I'm pretty sure he's fluent in Japanese. So what he's doing is he's just hitting cap to be able to type real quick. Otherwise, you have to go all the way down to your taskbar every time, pull up the different languages you have loaded on your computer, switch it back to English only on the keyboard, then you can hit cap instead and just do all caps. And so that's why he's doing that. Just to give you guys a heads up, he's not screaming at me all the time. Chiptooth is awesome, dude. He's like, what a good dude, man. He was really there for me. One of those people really there for me, kept checking on me during the storm and everything. JDM CJM. Um, are you new to the stream? Seems like I don't think I've seen the name before. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Um, yeah, I'm starting a little bit early tonight. Obviously, work is tomorrow, which is sad but true. So I always tend to start these a little bit earlier. Well, actually, I guess what? It's 6:30. Guys, my dad gave me an iWatch 8. And if you just think like he's the nicest guy ever, he is. My dad's awesome. But he just bought the iWatch 10. Oh my gosh, $5, dude. Thank you, Chris. Chris. Wait, it's not showing me your full name. Dang it. Okay, first of all, then oh, Chris Fallon. Dude, thank you. Thanks, you rock. Oh, I'm on the Osoroshi profile, so now you just got okay. I need to open up my phone and get on there. Sorry, I'm always on two profiles. You probably think like, who's this random dude who just said you rock? Of course, how silly of me to forget. One of my viewers today posted a picture of me from when I was 27 years old and then when I was like 34, and it was like, how can he go this many years without aging? So I posted another picture today that had me at 45, and I said, add pickles to every my skincare routine is to add pickles to everything, and it'll preserve you like pickles. Hold on, let me bring up my own stream. Yes, and quit. Okay, what is going on? It's like stuck in a loop or it won't end. Okay, here we go. Going to my live. There we go. All right, now, Chris, I'll give you a thank you from the other profile. Thanks, Chris. You're the best. XOXOXOXO. No, seriously though, dude. Thank you, man. I don't usually get donations. It's It's always kind of like very flattering to me if I get a donation on stream. Forgive me, I am eating as always on stream. So if you do see me going back and forth, I am eating, and as always, pickles are involved. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's pickle and bacon sandwich. Let's see. Oh, so good. It's so good. Mod shits? To be honest, I need to take my own advice with that. I have barely left the house the last few days. There's times like that. Josh. Um, there was so many days in Japan where sometime I'd barely leave. Got me some vitamin D today. Where's Shogun to tell us about like how to he always tells us like how we're supposed to live our lives and everything. I like Shogun. Don't get me wrong, I love Shogun's. Like he actually has some. I don't know if I believe all his like conspiracy theory stuff, but he's got some like good advice for like staying healthy. Chris, you're new to the stream, man. What are you doing today, man? You just chilling at home? I went out and got some sun myself yesterday for the same reason. I need to get it while I can. Or oh yeah, that's right. You live in Oregon. You should move to the Sunshine State. You'll get as much sun as you want, man. Right now it's starting to get cool, a little bit cool here in Florida. Dude, when the weather gets cool in Florida, like life is heaven. Because it never gets so cold that you're like bitterly cold, like biting, windy cold. Um, Especially like in central Florida where I am. Well, I guess I'm west central Florida. Is that correct? And the most you ever have to wear is like a long sleeve shirt, and like it just feels wonderful. It's like you're in a hot place with the air condition on. That's how Florida feels during the winter. Mayo. That sounds good. I should have added mayo to it. Stacker dill. You got to get the Clausen dills. Clausen dills are the best. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. There is some pickles here in Florida. Well, not all over Florida. Here in the area where the Amish, the Mennonites. Okay, there's two different type of Amish. There's Amish up in Pennsylvania, it's really weird if you think about it. I was born in Pennsylvania, Lancaster of all places, where the hardcore Amish live, the ones with zero electricity with horse and buggy. And then I've also, my most recent place when moving back to America is here in Sarasota, Bradenton, Palmetto area. And here you've got the Amish that are the Mennonites, and then they're kind of like partial electricity. I don't know exactly what the rules are, but they're allowed to use like a little bit of electricity. But I think they still don't use like computers or TVs or anything like that. And they ride bicycles, but they do run stores that involve electricity. So I'm not sure what the rules are for that. Rico, hello. So rude. Talking with my mouth open. Rico, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you. Hope you've been well. I'm doing much better now, Rico. Sorry, I pronounced it right. Dico. That's better. All right. Didn't know you had a puma in your living room. What are you talking about? This puma? Rawr, rawr. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love you. I never want to bother you or make you sad. Mm. Is this the puma you're talking about? Yeah, this is a ferocious cat. Right, Deco? Yeah, see? Deco. He's just out for food. He smells bacon and he's like, I don't know if you know this, but I like bacon. I like tuna fish. I like pickle. I eat anything, sir. Got some Clausen here. Clausen is the best. Oh, and I was gonna say, sorry, about the Amish. How did I ever? I totally got off topic. So the Amish have a series of grocery stores out here called Detweilers, and they make their own pickles there, and those pickles are ultra fresh. Ugh, I got cat hair. They're ultra fresh, and I'd say they're the only thing comparable to Clausen. I don't know why. Why is Clausen so good? Like I like Vlasic. Vlasic's okay. Kosher's okay, but like Clausen is like up here, whereas Vlasic and Kosher are like kind of like not too bad. And then you know what's at the bottom? Sweet pickles. They're disgusting. Don't ever tell me you eat sweet pickles or we'll never be friends. No, I just don't. I don't know what it is, man. I cannot stand sweet pickles. I got hair everywhere, all over me now. Sweet pickles, they're the biggest jar of disappointment ever. Someone busts out a big thing of pickles, and you're like, "Oh hell yeah, pickles!" And then you eat one of them, and you're like, "Sweet pickles." Uh, Run Ray, my cat is currently screaming at me to feed him, but he's not having any of my fajitas. Yes, no fajitos for Neko. They always want people food, but you gotta tell them, no people food for you, sir. Hold on. John, we just talked about this. Like, what kind of, so the average prices of house? Well, first of all, it really depends on a couple factors. I know we talked a little bit about this last night, John, but so first of all, like your prices are going to be higher in like Miami. They're going to be way higher if you're close to the beach. If we're about to like cut through like an average, I'd say your average like two-bedroom house, you're looking at about $250,000, okay, in Florida. And that's like a really average cut in a really average neighborhood. Um, if you're looking for something near the beach, get ready to start to get up close to millions, like, but you're looking at like a quarter million usually to buy a house in Florida in general, like your average. But John, please, one thing I want to tell you, man, when you start shopping, you check those floodplains before you buy anything, John, okay? Check your floodplain, check where you're at. Check a couple factors, like check floodplains, check evacuation zone, check which coast you're closest to. Make sure you're not buying something that's going to get annihilated. I want one good thing I did when I bought my place is I did check floodplains, and I'm way high above the floodplains. But I mean, I'm on the west side. I'm not close to the beach at all. But still got hit real hard when it came to that hurricane. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, the market is crazy right now. Although I will say the Fed did just drop mortgage rates, so you're looking at a 6.6 on average if you have like decent credit, John. Okay. Make sure you keep that credit around 700, 700 or higher. Don't go lower than that if you're going to be buying a house. I know what you said, you're buying a house for you, your wife, and a single kid, right? So I think you're probably looking around 250K on average, unless you want to buy something like really nice or you get into now, John, the other thing you need to think about is HOAs too. Check out your HOA too, because sometimes you're like, oh, quarter million, that's not bad. I could probably get a mortgage for like, 1,500 a month, or maybe even lower if you put more on your down payment. But um You might find out later when you join there's an HOA that's like, upwards of $1,000. So check your HOA, man. Check your HOA and see if you can join the HOA's Facebook group to make sure there's not a bunch of drama. You'd be surprised how much drama HOAs can get into, especially in Florida. I don't know, maybe it's like that everywhere. I don't know. All right. We're moving into a shack here in Texas. 65K. God damn, that's a cheap price. Jonah, I hope it works out, man. That sounds sick, dude. Probably like even if you're moving into a shack, dude, you could renovate it, right? Um, my place is a 3 bedroom. Um, I paid about 200K on it. Um, I actually financed it through my parents. I got, I'm super lucky. Not that I had good enough credit to get it. Um, the problem we kept running into is I would find a house, try to buy it, and by the time it would take all the mortgage stuff to go through, it would already be off the market because someone dropped cash on it. Cash will always beat anybody trying to get a mortgage on a house. And so when I found this one, my parents were like, okay, this time we're ready. And they took out money from like their savings and took a loan against their own house to help me buy mine. That's how great my parents are. They are great. Now, younger Scott, when I was in my early to mid 20s, would have never gotten that kind of help from my parents because I was very irresponsible with money. But after you have kids and raise a family, you start to notice yourself tightening your belt a little bit more when it comes to money. I hope I'm not boring people to death. Oh, okay. I wish the U.S. had something like Akiya. John, they kind of do. Like in Chicago, there's like a bunch of rundown houses and stuff like that that have been abandoned, right? You can actually squat in those, and if you start paying the tax on those for like a certain amount of months or whatever, you gain ownership. And it's some kind of squatter law that lets you do that. I don't know all the necessary things to do, but you end up owning the house from paying the back taxes on it or something like that. So, well, I guess that's still not like an Akiya. An Akiya is almost like a free house. Pretty much you pay like 100 yen and then you own it because they just have to have some sort of um, billing to be able to put it in your name, to get the deed in your name. But let me just tell you something about Akiya. Akiya is not, oh, and let me explain to everybody what an Akiya is too, because some people are just like, what the hell are you even talking about an Akiya? Okay, so an Akiya is a house in an area that has been abandoned for a very long time and nobody owns it. The bank can't sell it. It's starting to get run down from being abandoned for so long. And just to get the property off their records and off their hands, the bank will often sell it to people for about like $1. And this is because then they don't have to do anything to take care of it anymore. And it's like actually costing them money to do upkeep on it. Like, even if the house is run down and a piece of shit and no one's living there, they still have to pay like the electric and the sewer on it because they're holding it as like, one of their properties. Um, you can still get kicked out, but it becomes substantially more difficult. Oh, okay, okay. Um, excuse me. So Akiya sounds like a really great deal. Like, oh, I just pay $1 and then I own the house. That's like amazing. I get like a free house. Most times you're gonna find any Akiya, any Akiya you buy is in such bad condition that you would have to tear it down and restart anyway. And then you're gonna end up having to pay the property taxes on the land. Property taxes in Japan can be really high. Oftentimes, people in Osaka end up always selling their house and moving into an apartment or a condo because then you don't have to pay land property taxes anymore if you live in one of those. You only have to pay city taxes. The other problem with an Akiya is, and this is something I really don't think a lot of people understand. The material. Sorry, it's my first time talking. The material used to build Japanese houses is of a far greater low quality than anything used to build in America. Um, you're not going to find hardy, strong brick and mortar structures. Most times it's just going to be like a wood frame with no insulation in between the walls because they don't believe in using insulation in Japan. Um, they're usually very squat floors that are tiny. And even if you get a house that is 3 stories, you'll find it quite cramped because they tend to split these houses up into like a million rooms just to be like, yo, you got a 3 story house with 50 rooms. And then you find out all of them are like the size of a closet. Um, on top of it, just like the material is garbage most times. If the outside structure is still sound enough that the integrity is okay and passes like safety inspection, almost 100% of the time you're going to have to rip everything out of the inside of the house. Um, the main things that are used to build the inside is a lot of like low quality laminate. Um, there's laminate versions of everything, which if you don't know lamination, like the laminate material is pretty much like cardboard that's been sealed. It's pretty garbage. We bought our house, I'm sorry, we bought our condo 10 years ago. Um, and quite frankly, at this point, the whole thing needs to be refurbished again because it's all falling apart. The wallpaper is straight garbage. The floors are made out of laminate that like if you even push a chair too hard on it, it'll start to peel the floor. Um, let's see what else. Oftentimes, this other thing drives me totally nuts. Is Japanese houses, especially if they're like older ones, they never have enough outlets. I don't know why. It's like you would think in a country that invents so many wonderful little electronic machines that they would have more places for those. And so you end up having to buy all these power strips and extension cords and everything like that, and your wire management becomes a chore. Um, Now, some of you might think about, but like, what about the like really esoteric minimalist houses that are made of tatami mat and shogi doors and all that stuff? Well, let me tell you, if you have asthma, if you have any kind of reactive breathing disorder that, things like mold, dust, um, dander causes any kind of like allergic reaction, you're not going to be able to live with tatami mat. As beautiful as tatami mat is, and as wonderful as those old style houses look, you'll die. I don't know how else to put it towards you. I had a very mild case of asthma, and every time we moved something from one room to another, and it moved across the tatami mat, I would be short of breath and dying from asthma attacks for the next 3 days. Especially if you clean out a closet or like you take everything in one room and move it to another. For I don't know how many days, you'll be stuck in this horrible asthma, allergy, dust, um, antihistamine desperation attack. And the reason being is those things just trap tons of dust under them. I mean, they're literally like, thick pieces of straw or grass or whatever you want to call it, cross-hatching each other. And, all different types of little mold and dust and dirt gets underneath them. And yeah, they look beautiful because you don't see that. You don't see the mold, you don't see the dirt, but it's got to be going somewhere. And where it's going is in between all the interlacing of those tatami mats. And when you step across them, you don't watch this happen in real time, but little poofs of all the stuff growing underneath there and dirt being collected come out over and over, and you're literally stirring up dust and mold and everything every time you go through those type of rooms. Um, so you know, so I mean, okay, if I had an opinion of what to do with an Akiya, number one, I would try to find one that um, had a skeletal structure that was sound enough that you wouldn't have to rebuild anything on the outside. Okay. Number two, I would also make sure it was sound enough that you would be able to add windows to the structure without compromising its integrity. And the reason for that is I will say a lot of Japanese style houses have very little light exposure aside from, the minimalist houses with the big sliding doors and everything like that. Most of them have minimal windows, and the windows they do have are like little slit windows, and that's about it. Why Japanese are very private, that's why. Um, but they do tend to have very dark and dank houses because of the lack of windows. So you're probably going to want to add more windows. Second of all, if I bought an Akiya, I would strip everything from the inside of it. I would absolutely gut the place, and I would import a lot of foreign supplies to have everything redone. It does happen. It's rare, but it does happen where like a military officer or maybe someone like oh, who was it? I forget which movie star it was, but they bought a house in Japan, and right away they had everything stripped out and replaced. Now you don't have to be movie star level uh, money to be able to do that, but you'll probably find over time, if you want your house to be a long-lasting, beautiful place that you don't have to constantly replace anything, you're gonna want to invest in foreign supplies. I'm not saying it has to come from America or anything like that. It could be, from New Zealand or even Australia, but you're gonna want like brick and mortar tile. Um, I would I would stay away from carpeting, and have the whole place renovated with that kind of stuff to make it last a very long time. Now, let me shut up and go back through the comments to see what we're all talking about. All right. Uh, Josh, you said you want to live anywhere you live is with all hardwood floors. I totally agree with you. In this place that I bought now, one of the main things of why I bought it is this is all real wood. So I have all wood floors. I wax them every weekend. It's wonderful. And then I have um it's not laminate, but it's called like luxury tile laminate. So it's a mix of tile and laminate, but it's like the ultra hard kind where like you'd have to like hit it with a pickaxe to crack it. Um, and that's the only two surfaces I have for the inside of my house. I refuse to get any carpeting installed. I refuse to get anything spongy. And yeah, sure, my feet would hurt really bad if I walked around barefoot all day in this house. But no matter how much I spill, no matter how much mess I make, there is no place stuck full of stains that will never come out. And that's wonderful. I love that. Mean Maddie Dean. You can do laminate floors, but I would say make sure you go for high quality laminate. Don't use the rubber shit. It's like all rubbery and spongy. Do you think foreign men should date foreign girls and not focus only in Japanese girls? Are you saying like when you live in Japan? Um, I mean, you should focus on whatever the heart wants, right? Um, if you're looking for a very, very traditional marriage, um, your best route would to be go with a Japanese woman. Um, but you can't file down the act of courting to one simple subjective rule as far as who is best for you to date. Um, I would say if I were to give anybody advice about who to date, and this goes for both men and women, date and marry the person you meet who has the best head on their shoulders. Don't ever marry somebody for like a hot piece of ass, whether they be a muscle bound dude or, a super sexy, thick hottie or whatever you want. You need to fall in love with who they are and how their mind works before you fall in love with anything else. Don't waste your time with lust. Look for love. Unless you're like really young and then, just go crazy, dude. Just make sure you don't break too many hearts along the way. You can do area rug. Area rugs are okay. I agree with you on that, mean Matty Dean. Um, but actually, my house, when I bought my house, it was a turnkey house, and so you had to keep everything that was inside. The first thing I did was throw away all the throw rugs. They're just garbage. All right, let me. Oh, hey, Split Fries Media is here. Daddy Tube. Wow. Oh, Daddy Tube. Yeah. Okay, so Daddy Tube's totally right here. He just said like he bought two places in Japan and they're very affordable and the rest of the world is ridiculous. Yeah, okay. He's totally right about this. I mean, honestly, rent and mortgages and the price of a full property in Japan, people always talk about, oh, Japan's so expensive. It's the most... No, it's become far more affordable than anywhere else in the world. If you want to compare it to, other first world high economic nations, Japan is very reasonable. Daddy Tube is completely right about this. Um, I mean, prices here in America right now are ludicrous. Something's got to give eventually because these places like Zillow and BlackRock and all these places buying up entire neighborhoods full of houses, it's bullshit and it's pricing out the average American from actually owning their own property. Chicago sucks. I'm sorry, Dan. Um, there are tons of small towns in the Midwest and Central US that have places for dirt cheap. The problem is there is nothing there, basically. Yeah, yeah. I mean, these days with modern amenities that allow you to work, from home and stuff like that, make it a little more reasonable to buy a place in the middle of nowhere. Many of us have the luxury of being able to work from home. Most of our jobs require us to have to go out there, so. Tattoo Games, what's up, dude? I lived in Chicago a few years. They are trying to nip that since they have so much homelessness taking over in Chicago. They have a literal tent cities. Damn, dude. What happened? Why is Chicago so fucked up? Like, what happened there? I mean, I guess I realized, like, wasn't there like a ton of factories and stuff before, and all the factory jobs went automated or just moved out of Chicago? That sucks, so man. Chicago used to be fucking cool. You can't wait to leave Illinois, Dan, huh? Where will you go, Dan? Dan, come move to Florida, dude. Come move to Florida so we can hang out, man. Come move into my neighborhood. Buy one of these places that just got hit by a hurricane and rebuild it. There's a place right across the street from me for sale right now. You're gonna have to fix the roof first, but I highly recommend you buy it. I think it's about 170K right now. The idea of buying and renovating a house like that sounds super romantic, but I'm sure it'd be a pain actually. Yeah, I mean, I've done some refurbishing on my own, and it's no easy task. There's a lot that goes into it. Please forgive me still eating on stream. Oh man. Okay, so Dan's talking about, he said, I wonder what the people next to you pay in property tax. Yeah. First of all, what is crazy, Dan, is that place used to be a pile of shit. Like they left it like kind of fall apart for ages. And then one day they just cleared the whole thing out and built that ultra modern compound there. Um, to give you an idea of how expensive the property taxes would be there used to be a massive temple where the gym next to me is, and the owners of that temple who actually get funding and everything from the government, and they don't even pay, what is it? What's the one tax they don't? They still have to pay city tax. No, no, no. I think they don't have to pay city tax. They only have to pay property tax because they're a nonprofit organization. It was like a monk who ran it. They had to knock that place down and reduce it to a place one fourth of the size because even he, with like, having tons of visitors, having tons of clients, and getting most of his stuff funded by the government because a lot of temples are, he couldn't afford it either. So, I mean, even like ritual holy places and stuff like that can't afford it. So, there's the only thing I can think is the people who live there. Oh my gosh, can't stop burping. The people who live there must be from deep pockets. Like whatever that person did there in that house, whatever job or career they worked or still work, it has to be like a CEO or something like that to afford a place right there next to Sakaichi and Family Mart. Oh, I can only imagine, dude. All right, with Akiya, aren't you required by law to use any land that comes with the property as well? Like for agriculture? No, 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 no. There might be, okay, so Jonah, there might be certain areas like in the countryside where the government forces that because I have heard of stuff like that where they're like, um, it's like usually called like a farm sale or something like that. And when you buy it, they want you to keep working the land. And if you don't, like you don't produce a certain amount or whatever, they renege on the deal because you have to meet a certain quota. But there's many Akiya that are just they have nothing to do um, with that kind of deal. Oh my god, this sandwich is so good. I'd love to buy a house in the woods in Oregon, like Tillamook, but even that's really expensive. Yeah, I don't ever see me owning a home in my life. Jonah, no, I'm sorry, John Man Bob, how old are you? Because I mean, I used to feel the same way, dude. How old are you? Laminate plus humidity equals no bueno. Well, like, think about the people who have like the paper doors, even Dan, right? Like, I would see times where people who still had them built like that really old style way, where like literally like their door would just like start to like melt almost. And you're just like, yeah, of course. Like, you're in the most humid place in the world and you're building stuff out of paper. What the hell are you thinking? I love it. It's beautiful. The ones that are really well kept are amazing, but okay. Oh yeah, Tillamook cheese and ice cream is amazing. Wow, okay. I love going to okay. Haven't thought about that in a while. The myth of Japan being like years ahead of technology. Oh yeah, please guys, get that out of your mind. I mean, that's one thing I always want to reiterate with people. Japan is not futuristic at all. There is zero futuristic about Japan for the most part. Yeah, there used to be a time where they really were on the cutting edge of technology and stuff like that, back when there was like the Walkman. My wife won me over because she knew how to cook, and she knows she can cook. Since we've been married, she put 20 pounds on me. It sounds like you married yourself a good woman, Tattoo Games. Trump will fix the economy? I'll believe it when I see it, man. I'm not doubting anybody and I'm not trying to play anything political. It's just, yeah, I don't care which person wins the presidential race. I really don't care. I just don't believe anyone's going to fix the economy. Crazy blanket statement, Matt. I don't know any handsome Asian men. Maybe Keanu Reeves. What are you talking about? You don't know any handsome Asian men? There's like tons of like Asian models and stuff. What the hell are you talking about? I'm 30, just turned 30. Oh, yeah, John, you're fine, dude. One day you're going to be able to afford a house, okay? When I was 30, yeah, I was probably at the same stage as you where I was like, wow, this is never going to happen. Like maybe I'll own this place in Japan, but looking at prices in America, hell no, it's not possible. You'll find that place one day. Alls I would recommend is just like you take a long time and really think about who you're going to marry before you marry them, do the same thing with your house, you know? Find out as much as you can, really get to know the area, ask around if you can, even talk to people in the HOA if you can. But that's money that you're going to be investing for a very long time. And if it's your primary property, then you really need to take your time when you're choosing the place you're going to marry, because you are like marrying that place. Jonah, what are you talking about? What haven't you found? Japan has capsule hotels. Yes, they do. I wish America could have trains. America does have trains. They're just useless. Do you know why? Like trains like don't you like they're for the most part not used much around like America for like moving around like they are in Japan. All the companies that started their train lines a long time ago were in competition with each other, and they all built their tracks differently. So if a train wants to go a different area that they don't have track built on yet, they can't just dip over to the other track of other train lines or train companies because they each made their own esoteric, uh, uh, what do you call it? Pri Proprietary tracks. And that's one thing Japan did really smart. Even other train lines that I don't know if they compete with each other, but no matter what, when they started in like the early 50s and 60s building their rails, every company, every line agreed to use the same type of track. So even if they cut through on another track, borrow another track to go somewhere else, have to take a train out the middle of nowhere, they can all keep using the same track. The problem with America is they all built different types of tracks. So even if the track goes all the way across America, if it doesn't stay the same and made the same way all the way across, you'll never be able to find a train that can do that. It's really ridiculous. Me and my wife are playing the long game right now since we are both saving up to reopen her family's cow business, since that is her goal. And I suppose uh, and I support her since she has the know-how. That sounds like a good idea. Um, hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I see what the problem is. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Mm. Okay. Uh, Sorry, I had to stand up. Every time I eat like a massive meal, my body like wants to go to sleep. So my eyes are starting to like slowly shut, and it's nowhere close to bedtime yet. All right, let's get back into talking. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna play a game tonight at all. I think I just really want to chill and chat with you guys. Um, Last night was kind of stressful with Silent Hill. Holy cow, that game gets super ultra intense. It's great. I love it. It's amazing, but holy shit, man. Okay, let me see what we got here. Um, Let me put this up all the way. There we go. Okay, I gotta catch up. I've heard we have some of the best, most reliable public transit in the country. Wait, hold on. Oh, Portland, in Portland. Maybe that might be true. For the most part, public transit in America sucks. Um, Urban planning here was absolutely ravaged by a bias for cars. Yeah, you're totally right about that. Yeah, that is very true. All right, let me back up a little bit. All right. Josh, you said, to be honest, the whole woman managing money thing sounds really good to me. Yeah, from day one, from the very first time my wife and I moved in together when we were still just boyfriend and girlfriend, I gave her management of all my money because I am a dipshit when it comes to taking care of money. I'm much better now. But I used to be really bad, man. I used to like live paycheck to paycheck. I was so bad with money. And then I met my wife, and first of all, I gave her control right away. And then after that, like, I still struggled, man. I'd still spend way too much. And she finally reduced me down to only spending about $300 a month. Like, that was the allowance I got. And there were some months it was really, really, really damn hard. But now that I'm a grown ass adult and I'm living on my own pretty much here in America, taking care of a child I'm almost like a single father type situation. I've become much more responsible after seeing how my wife managed money for the past, 14 years we've been married at this point. And it's all thanks to her. And I realized too that, like, you don't need to buy every single thing you want, which sounds obvious, but for some reason my ADHD mind could not understand that. Um, that like you can constantly look for deals on how to buy your food. That you can spoil yourself once in a while, but make sure it's really a a utility that you actually absolutely need. Like, for example, buying a computer, make sure that computer is a good gaming computer because that's what you're going to use it for, but also make sure it's something you could use for work and stuff too. Don't just blow money on just anything. Like, think about the multiple uses, how long you can use it for, all different types of stuff. And now, living on my own out here, I have quite a good chunk of savings. Although for a while there, it was getting really bad after I got hit with the hurricane because I just dropped 5K on redoing my undercrawl and then had it blown out by Milton after I had just fixed it from Helene. And then you guys came to the rescue and pretty much saved my ass from the donation. So again, thank you for that. All right, let's get into a little bit more of what people are talking about. All right. I'm going on a trip to the Tillamook Cheese Factory. That sounds fun. I used to have hay fever when I was young. Grass pollen would literally make me swell up. But as I get older, my allergies have gotten better. Yeah, I used to have what's called reactive asthma or sports-induced asthma, and it was really bad until I hit about 22 years old, and then it slowly went away. Um, let's see. Do you think? Oh no, I already read that one. Pepgard, are you gone now? What happened? You asked me that question about Japanese women and foreign women, which one you should date. Um, all right. What else do we got here? Oh, you're only 27? Josh, I thought, like, you seem more mature to me than that. Like, I definitely thought you were older too. Um, actually, most of you come across as actually pretty mature, I'd say. Probably more mature than I was when I was 27. Oof, I was quite a case back at 27 years old. Um, yeah, my wife are playing the long game. Okay. I'm only a year older. Trying to see what any other questions. Light rail. Oh, okay. We're talking about play. Oh, here we go. HT's got a question. Hey, Scott, how are you, mate? I'm really sorry with what happened with the hurricane. Did see your disaster, Japan versus USA. All right, man. Hey, thank you for watching, and also just like thank you for the kind words. I'm doing okay now, mostly thanks to the wonderful people that watch my channel. Yeah, quite frankly, you guys saved the day. I would be freaking out right now trying to figure out how to raise enough to fix my undercrawl again, but everybody came through and gave me enough to be able to like pretty much get back on my feet far faster than I could myself. So I appreciate your kind words, and I also appreciate you being on the channel. It's like wonderful people like you that have made everything a lot better in my life. Bite 3 a.m. I don't. Oh, I don't know your history. Are you not married anymore? No, brother. Or maybe sister. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. I'm married, only married one time, man. Still married to the same woman. She's amazing. My wife is definitely my rock, man. She is the most logical, down to earth, well thought out, wonderful little lady ever. I love her a bunch. Ugh, I miss her so bad, man. She's in Japan right now. If you don't know my new situation, Bite 3 a.m., pretty much I'm living between America and Japan now. During the school year here in America, I work here, and then when the school year finishes here, I go back over to Japan until the school year starts back up again, and then I got to come back again. So I'm taking the youngest one to school here in America because he wanted more of like the Western situation for schooling, and the older one, whoops, almost knocked over my iPhone holder. My older one still loves the Japanese style. He loves the competition, and he's actually doing really well in school. He's in like a really high level um, preparatory school for like going to a place like Tokyo University or something like that. So, and my wife, you know, she still works her job there, and she can't transfer her license out here. So we're still trying to figure out pretty much when my son finishes high school, my eldest son, when he finishes high school, then she's gonna finally move here. And man, oh man, is life gonna be good. God, I can't wait till my wife lives here with me. That's gonna be like the dream life, dude. Ah, I have the awesome house. I have my awesome family with me. Well, I guess my oldest son won't be with me. He'll be in college by then, but um, just to be able to live. You know, she's visited one time already. She came last Christmas, and she's going to be here December 20th as well. And it's just everything's right with the world when she's here, and all my thoughts can be steady, and everything goes so well and so wonderful. All right, what do we got? Scott, you're absolutely on top of your finances. I feel like I'm being responsible because I've resisted the urge to establish a Coke plug in my new town. Wait, what's a Coke plug? Um, become the plug. Just kidding. Don't do that. Like when you say a plug, like what is that? I'm confused. Yeah, I saw that video and I thought it was cool. You pointed out better on both sides, not just Japan rules and America sucks type thing. Yeah, I mean that's the way it always is. Like people always ask me what country is better, and it's like there is no better. Um, you know, between America and Japan, both are very civilized. Um, I'd say Japan probably far more civilized than America is, but they both have their pluses and their minuses. I'd say, you know, the big minus of living a life in Japan, Japanese style, is that you're working nonstop, your pay is very low, and even though rent or buying a place, or well, actually even food prices now are all very low in Japan, it's very affordable, but your your biggest problem is you're working so much you often don't get to enjoy the stuff that you've bought. You know, like if you're working 9 to 9 or you're working 9 to 11, like a lot of salarymen do, you're paying for a house and a family you never see. So that's a big negative about Japan. Um, Whereas America, it's like you don't have to work insane hours. Well, you can if you want to, and especially if you're a business owner, you're probably working insane hours. But in America, I feel like you don't have to worry about that. You can still get decent pay while working reasonable hours, but the pay is never good enough now to be able to afford a place to live. So Japan, you work so hard and easily afford a place that you never get to see. In America, you work so hard, but not nearly as hard as Japan, but you're never able to buy a place. So these are like some of the negatives and stuff. Like both places have negatives and positives too. In America, you can just be yourself at your job, talk to your coworkers, have a good laugh, um, even maybe make friends at that job and hang out after hours. You can express ideas. You can express ways that you think things might run more efficiently. Um, you can even file a complaint if you feel like you've been harassed or something's going horribly wrong at work that you need to talk to HR or something. Whereas Japan, you'll always have job stability, like you're not going to get fired probably most of the time. Your job is always very secure. Your company will always have lots of work for you to do, so you're not just going to be sitting around bored, like feeling like you're wasting your time at the job. But also, you never feel like you are like part of a close knit group. You never feel like you're making close friends or like you're able to exchange workplace banter. It's always just like, we are at work, we must work now, nonstop working. Hello, friend, I must return to work. Like that's how I always felt in Japan. Okay. That'd be like a runner, I think. Right? I had a huge problem with it for a long time when I was younger. A lot cooler shit to spend your moolah on. Wait, what? What are we talking about? I'm so confused. Any tips you would give your 27-year-old self? HT, I like this question. This is a good one. Getting some interesting topics tonight. If I were able to talk to my 27-year-old self, what would I tell myself? I'd say number one, slow down and wait for the good things to come. I'd say, um, save your money. Never stop saving your money. Um, pursue your passion in art, no matter what anyone says or what your job is, and never give up on it. And don't get sidetracked or held down by the little things. I guess that was what I used to get like really into like dark scenarios in my mind over like the smallest worries and stuff like that. I sometimes still do that now, but not nearly as much as I used to when I was younger, where I just like create bad things that could happen in my mind and worry about them all night long and not sleep properly. So stupid. Okay. You don't know what a Coke plug is? Yeah, I don't know what a Coke plug is either. I'm like kind of really confused. Um, all right. The line between partying and having fun to being an irresponsible addict gets. Oh, I thought you meant like Coca-Cola. That's why I was like really confused. I didn't know you meant actual Coke. Um, live in Japan and do a remote job from Japan then? Actually, yeah, Slater Duck. I have a friend who does that, and he is living the high life. Like the only downside that he has is he does remote work. He makes an American salary in Japan, which is like 4 times more than what everybody else at his place is making. Even though he's working for the same company as the Japanese people there, because it's their um, Japanese branch that's an American company. So he makes a ton because he's still getting paid like an American, first of all, American dollars, which are worth a lot more. Number two, like, he started on an American salary to begin with. And now, I mean, he's making probably like 4 times more than everybody else at where he works. And he said the only downside, and I talked a little bit about this in my one video I forget what the name of the video was, but there's certain times he does need to come into the office every once in a while and talk to the Japanese staff there. And the main reason he's out there and, implemented as a foreign figure in a Japanese branch is the Japanese branch was having troubles adapting to the new way that they're using IT for marketing and stuff like that. And his biggest complaint, his biggest struggle is number one, he can't make any friends at work. Like no one wants to ever do anything at work aside from work and just work and work. But also the new ideas that he needs to implement to hopefully make the Tokyo branch succeed is just stuff the old crew is just not adapting to. Like, and he said it's bad in a sense that like these people might lose their jobs because eventually it'll reach a point where there's no choice about adapting, where it's like either you can use this new hardware or this new software in order to market products, or we need to toss you out and get new people in here who can. And he said no matter how much he tries to beat that into a lot of like the old crew's head, they're just super stubborn. Hold on. I got like a Bluetooth headphone in as I've got headphones on top of it. Okay, that was uncomfortable. And this is something I've actually heard from a lot of people who have to work at like a Japanese branch from a foreign company is that there's a lot of stubbornness to adapt to like new ways. I saw this even at schools I worked at and stuff like that. Like just the technology they would have was ancient. There'd be people there who didn't know how to use a computer at all. I mean, I've told you guys a story of like, I saw one guy using two computers because he had like a website up on the one computer and was typing information from that screen onto his computer until I showed him that like you can open multiple tabs and you can have multiple windows open. Like he didn't even realize. And it's not that like, Japanese people don't know how to use a computer. It's not quite like that. They're just more adapted to using smartphones and phones in general just to do all their computing. Like they can probably type faster, do stuff faster, use apps faster, and everything with smartphones and cell phones because they've had them way longer than we have. But what they didn't have for a very long time was computers in their homes. Like a lot of like my generation, I grew up with computers in my house, right? I had like IBM 888s and 386s, 486s. The very first home computing ever, where all you had is a DOS prompt and you had to enter in commands. A lot of them didn't grow up with this because number one, the desktop was just too damn big to even have in your house, took up too much room. Number two, laptops were still like outrageously expensive. So, unless you wanted to pay an arm and a leg back then, you weren't growing up with any kind of computer in your house. So that's kind of messed them up with keeping up with the technology that is being used in the modern workplace to this day. And then the newer generation, even though the older generation wants to still keep working hard as hell and do those 12-hour days and stuff like that, newer generation looks at that generation and says like, you were my dad and you were never home because you worked so damn much. You were my mom and you were a career woman and you were never home either. I had to pretty much raise myself. And I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to work the life that you guys worked. I don't want to waste every second of my waking hours pouring my heart and soul into a job that pays nothing back in return. So they're not taking a lot of these jobs. They're not, they'll grab like one or two part-time jobs where they're just like doing something real quick with retail and then maybe doing some food service. And then they're done for the day and they're going to be using most of their income as disposable income. So that kind of keeps the economy going, but it doesn't really create any future leads in long-term career paths. And that's a big problem facing Japan today. And the worst part is like that next generation in general keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And again, we run into stubbornness again. Like they don't care. The government just doesn't seem to care. I don't know why. They're just kind of like, oh, whatever, you know. we'll get it done somehow. Oh, okay. Used to have a thing for Adderall. Oof. Adderall does nothing for me. I take it all the time, and it just kind of balances me out. I am prescribed Adderall, by the way. Like I'm not just like abusing Adderall. I have to see a psychiatrist every 30 days and get it refilled, but I take kind of a lower dose than most people. Um, oh, you have an Adderall script right now, Thrustavius, because I'm ADHD as hell, but I save it and don't take it on a lot of my days off, so I can use it recreational when I feel like it. I'm a sucker for, but like Josh, like if you do that, like don't you end up staying up like way too late? Like isn't I mean like I would feel like if I took more Adderall than I was prescribed, I'd like it would take me ages to try and fall asleep. Sometimes it's hard as hell to fall asleep, even when I'm not taking my Adderall prescription. I don't know. Um, all right. Oh, hey. Oh, okay. Oh, the I got good news about that hurricane painting, guys. Um, my mom was like really excited about that painting. Like her and her friends were like really, and they were like, dude, he needs to have like prints made of that. So she actually picked the painting up today. They came by to eat. I made them curry and everything. And she came by and she was like, what do you think about me trying to look into getting prints made of this? And I was like, yeah, sure. So her and my dad picked up that giant painting. I mean, that thing is like pretty massive and they loaded it into the back of their SUV and they're going to go to a place called Blue Line Printing. And apparently, what this place can do is take a canvas type painting and I guess, I don't know if they scan it or take a picture or whatever, and they're going to turn it into like professional prints to try and sell. Well, for me to try and sell. So, what I'm hoping I can do is offer it as some kind of reward to members in some way, and you'll be getting like a professional level print of it. I don't know completely how that works. I've never made prints of anything I've made before, aside from like digital prints from digital artwork, which obviously there's no degradation when you create that. But I've never seen like what kind of quality comes out when you do a digital scan of a giant canvas painting and see how it comes out. So I'm interested to see this. I'm interested to see if it sells. Like I said, I'm not going to be selling it to you. I'll try to give you guys a copy of it and stuff. But I don't want to promise that 100% because I also need to look into shipping and stuff. Sometimes even wanting to give art away becomes impossible because I would lose money on the shipping. Um, Something like that would probably have to be a tube shipped out. I don't know how it'll work. We'll figure something out. Um, Josh, you're definitely going to get one no matter what. I mean, you're at the highest cheer level, so you're definitely getting a print of it. All right, all right. What are we talking about? Somebody's trying to get over like a broken relationship or something. Paralyzed by my indecision and not wanting to hurt her, but also selfishly, I don't want to lose her. I come from a strict religious family, and they're putting a strain on us. Ah, you crumb. This is what we're talking about. Like with, I was wondering what was up yesterday. You're usually in a pretty good mood, and I can understand now what's going on. My girlfriend and I are coming to the end of our relationship. I fear, and we spoke earlier and are both sad, but I'm struggling to break the relationship off. Okay, so Josh here, Thrusty, has pretty good advice saying rip the band-aid off. Yeah, he's exactly right. Hold on. Let me grab a drink real quick. I need to hydrate. That feels better. Oh, I got all out of focus there. That was crazy. Yeah, Ikram. When it comes to stuff like this, um, yeah, you just got to kind of rip it off. You kind of got to get through it. And I know the hardest part is just actually like facing the emotion, the drama, the strain, the the tears, the heartache. But that is all coming no matter what you decide in the end. Like that's coming no matter what. So, um, it's a wound that you're going to have to face no matter what. But it's a wound that won't start to heal until it finally like happens. So just let that wound happen and get it over with. I don't want to sound like mean or rushing you through that or anything, but yeah, Thrusty's exactly right with this. You just gotta. They're hard times. I know it's hard to push through like relationships coming to an end and stuff, but the best thing you can do is just get it over with, talk it through, um, and start to get out to the other side where you can really start to heal and everything. Um, People always say that whole "this too shall pass," but really, it really is true when it comes to relationships. There might be times you break up and you're still not over it even after a year, but day after day, it will lessen. It will chip away until it is nothing more bothering you other than maybe just a good memory to look back on the good times you did have with that person. Remember, we date all the people who we date to find the person we love by finding the things we don't like and the things we do like, and trying to amalgamate all those things we do like and shave off, all the things we just, we can't put up with, that we can't tolerate. That's, I always recommend people, have a good portion of their life in which they date quite a bit and sow those wild oats and, have comparisons to make between, and I'm saying this for guys and girls, may find those people, who allow you to compare and contrast and compromise and figure out what's best for you in your life and what you can compromise to tolerate in their life as well. It'll always be a compromise. There's no such thing as like the perfect person for you. There's no such thing as like the perfect Hollywood movie image of a forever in love marriage. You will one day be fighting with that person. You will one day be upset with that person. You will find flaws that you find very aggravating, but the best reward is building that long-term relationship in which you do get to know each other so very well that you become connected on a level that you were never able to get to in the more basic year to a couple year relationships that you had in the past. You compromise to get deeper into a relationship and learn, what's tolerable, what's the do's, ifs, and buts when it comes to your partner. And after you meld and gel together as far as what you guys can tolerate and how you guys can accept and help each other, the reward is knowing that person better than you've known anyone in your life. And I mean, that is, I think, just one of the greatest rewards in all of humanity to begin with. And then if you start a child with that person too on top of it, even bigger reward. All right, let's see. I 100% want some Prince if you ever have enough to pass out. I'm going to do Prince of that one first. Like, I'm going to try this Hurricane one and do Prince because a lot of people, I know this sounds crazy. Well, maybe it doesn't sound crazy. I don't know. I'm kind of shocked. A lot of people have asked to buy that painting. Um, and I was kind of shocked after I finished it that like I got that many responses. Like I even had a teacher at work like as soon as I finished it and they were like, can I buy it? I want to buy it from you." And I was just like, "Wait. Um I did actually think about donating it to some kind of auction charity to help victims of the hurricane where it would get sold and the money would be donated to some kind of aid or help. I need to be paying it forward after everything you guys have done for me. I need to do something for somebody else. But as I was thinking about trying to do that, my mom saw I had posted it on Facebook and she's like, "Hey, I've got a couple of people here at like our condos. They want to buy that, and I've already told them that um, you're probably not selling the original, but I will look into prints for you." And I was like, "Oh, wait, I don't even know anything about getting prints made." And she's like, "I've looked into it. There's this place called Blue Line Printing. They apparently can turn canvas paintings into like, um, masterwork quality prints. So this is what we're going to try for the first time ever. We're going to see what this comes out like. And if the quality is good enough, then I do want to try and get some copies out to you guys." All right. All right, so what else is going on? It doesn't help that it costs so much energy and I've lost my job and struggling financially. Holy shit, Ikram, you got like everything coming down. Okay, that's why you said when it rains, it pours, and right now you're in a monsoon. Whew. All right. I think this is something you need to approach like one step at a time, man. Like, what can you actively navigate to be able to get some of this stress off of you? And I think if you can handle the relationship thing first by getting that, tapped out and finished up and wrapped up nicely, you got to get that done. And then maybe you can, I think you need to be focusing more on yourself right now. It sounds like you're considering everybody else's feelings except your very own. And sometimes there's points in our life, especially when we're our most depressed, where we need to be a little bit of selfish with our time, our mind, and our, spiritual being, emotional being, and everything like that. And I think when you're really at a dark time like this, Ikram, you need to be putting the focus on yourself. You need to think about what's best for you right now, because it sounds like everything around you is not helping you with the best that you can be right now, and it's kind of crushing you all at once. So to start to dig your way out, tread yourself carefully but thoroughly through these things you need to get out of the way, as far as ending your relationship. And then after you have some of that stress off, you can start to get into the job search and stuff like that, one thing at a time. But start to get at least one of those things done so you can see the light at the end of the tunnel here. It sounds like you're like everything collapsing around you really fast. I 100% want some prints. Okay, yeah, John, I will let you know, definitely. Um, Hogo, it's raining men, hallelujah. All right. We're a progressive group here, so we're totally all for the raining of men for you. Um, yeah, Ikram, you said that monsoon shit is drowning my ass. Yeah, dude, Ikram, I'm sorry, man. Take your time, Scott. John Manbon. I got dumped because I lost myself in addiction, then was selling off all my games to help pay rent to my brother who I moved in with. Whoa. Yeah, I mean, man, breakups can be rough, dude. I've had a couple in my past where they like crushed my soul, where I was just like not right for a very long time. So I understand how heavy it can get sometimes. And like you can always tell somebody like, just you got to just get over it, man. Just got to get over it. Like people always tell you that, and you're like, it's not like that. I can't just get over it. Um, I will say one of the best things you can do to help yourself get over it, because there is no such thing as just snap there, I'm out of it, I'm done, I'm over it, is you need to prioritize what's going on with you mentally right now. Because when you're in this much stress, um, your mind is often stuck in this like perpetual panic mode where like you're like, if this, then this happens, and if this, then this happens, and this, and you like end up just becoming sort of like, um, frightened still. Like, you can't move, you can't act, and everything keeps caving in on you. Um, and you just feel like almost paralyzed with stress. I find the best thing and I'm not saying this is going to work for everybody, obviously. The best thing for you to do during that time, or for me at least, was to make a list of priorities. And like I'm talking, write a physical list. And I'm not saying make these like long-term priorities or like one day get a better job. Excuse me. One day find a new love in my life again. No, not big stuff like that. Not like giant monumental life movements like that. But I'm saying like day-to-day things that can like somewhat brighten up your life. Is there things around the area you're living in where you can clean up and get things organized a little better? Make a list of all those things you need to clean up. Is there certain numbers that you need to call to start looking into jobs for the future? Make a list of those numbers and start working on that. Start to put together a list that's helping you prepare for a better future, small incremental points at a time. Um, you know, are you waking up to a room that's a total pigsty right now because you're so deep in your depression? Write down, clean your room, right? Are you waking up right now and you can't get anything on your mind aside from like what relationship problems you're having right now or what job problems you're having right now? Okay, how can you replace those with things that are more active or proactive? I would say, go into whatever you need to look at to write down numbers to make phone calls or send resumes out and make a list of which ones you're going to do for today. And then have those things slowly checked off where you're like physically checking them off on a piece of paper you wrote on. And you'll start to notice that you're accomplishing small things like you may call 5 companies for the day and all of them don't want anything to do with you as far as getting a job, but you did something. Like you at least found 5 places not to waste your time with. Um, do you have parts of the relationship aspect that you need to get moving? My stuff needs to be out of her. Her stuff needs to be out of here. Make a list of what things you can do to start to convert your living area to focus more around what you need to center yourself on. Do I need to get my stuff moved to a new place? Write down the steps I need to do to get that done. And then keep yourself busy with those things. And you'll heal from this no matter what. Like a relationship that you break up or end or come to a stop with isn't going to permanently injure you forever unless it's something like, the reason it stopped is because of a death or something like that, right? That's something I would say can sometimes stick with you forever. But in this situation, you're just parting ways. And one day you'll look back on that and that's all it will be. It'll be like, oh yeah, that's where we parted ways. Getting through there to the other side where it feels like that, though, takes the small incremental steps that you need to keep your mind busy with right now that will get you to that point where you can fully heal. Okay. Take time to feel your emotions. Yeah, you'll be feeling your emotions the whole time through all of this. And then if you can put accomplishments on top of that, even I'm talking small stuff, like do the small things bit by bit and write it as a list so you can keep yourself focused on those while still internally dealing with your emotions. Your body's processing it, your mind's processing it, no matter what goes on with your life around you. But at least you can keep tasks on hands that have you still marching forward, getting to that healing point. Let's see. I recently lost my job as well. Damn, dude. I'm sorry to hear that, guys. Both of you losing your job right now. Damn. The job market's kind of rough right now, isn't it? Tell you what, if you guys need teaching jobs, I can hook you up. No joke. There's so many teaching jobs here in Florida. If you have even just a college degree, you got yourself a job out here, man. All right. Damn, dude, I'm sorry, John, man, Bob. I'm reading about this right now that you're having to sell off collectibles. I'm sorry, guys. It sucks, man. The job situation that's rough. I've been there before. When I first graduated from college, there was just like nothing. There was nothing out there. Um, That's why I ended up in Japan. I couldn't get a teaching job in America. I worked for this tiny little, like it was almost like volunteer work for Episcopal school teaching art, and it was just like such poor pay that I was just like, this is not a livable situation. I'd say like the main thing I always do, I mean, again, my advice is not always the advice that works for everyone, but when I don't have a job, I make my job finding a job. So I wake up in the morning, I make a massive list of places I can call and write to, and then I just make that my full-time job of like finding a job. It still makes you feel like you're busy, like you're not just being a loaf. Because I think sometimes that's like the most defeating thing about it is that you're like, what is the point? I'm not doing anything and I'm not getting any farther ahead with this situation. But, you probably are still looking for a new job and stuff like that. I say just like make it almost like it is your full-time job to find a job. Um, oh, sweet, dude, you guys are into Gunpla? Dude, guess what? My next door neighbors who just moved in are massive into Gunpla. They're awesome. They're like the coolest dudes ever, man. I got so lucky with the people who moved in next to me. Into Warhammer, into anime, into Gunpla. Ugh, super cool dudes. Kiana Weir. Wow, heavy topic right off the back. Welcome, Kiana. Thrust. My wife got me back into building Gunpla. I told her you don't know what type of monster you woke up by doing that. She is so smug. She thought it was funny when she got me one again. Yeah, that's one thing. Find yourself like Tattoo Games here found a really good woman. If you have a woman who like when you're down, like when you're like, trying to find something to do in your life that you're not feeling like you have enough purpose, or maybe your job sucks right now and you're trying to look for a new one, or just something's keeping you down. If your wife or your significant other, man or woman, whatever, no matter which relationship you're in, if that person pulls up old memories or nostalgia of something they saw you in or into doing in the past and says, hey, for right now, just take some time for yourself and enjoy a hobby. That's a good person. That's a keeper right there. My wife has like pulled me back out of the darkness to be like, why don't you just do some art right now? You're always, no matter what you've failed at or what's got you down or what's making you feel beaten, you're always still good at drawing. Why don't you go back to drawing just for a little bit for now? And then my mind gets locked into that. I'm able to put my worries and everything aside for a second and refocus and kind of almost become zen-like with what my hobby is. Sometimes doing something you really enjoy and putting every worry aside for a second allows your mind to kind of clear out all the rubble of past trauma or whatever you're going through right now and make way for like a new mindset that'll get you through the harder times. So yeah, Tattoo Games sounds like you got a real good keeper right there. She's a great cook and she pulled you back into one of your old hobbies. That's like a healthy, synapse building, hand-eye coordination, artistic creative medium. That sounds amazing, dude. That sounds like a really good person. All right, let me try to catch up a little bit. I'm just trying to read snippets here and there of what you guys are dealing with right now. It sounds like some of you getting through some pretty rough stuff right now. I'm sorry to hear that too. Scott, having an unrested original would definitely go crazy. I want some art from your game, which again, we need to run a game of the idea of magic being so rare. It sounds sick to me. That's right. We need to do. When could we get the first game going? And by the way, guys, I want to invite anybody who's interested. What Josh is talking about here, Thrusty actually, is we do want to get a role-playing game going through voice chat on Discord. I really do want to get that going. And dude, yeah, Thrustavius, I can definitely send some art your way. Actually, Thrustavius, Josh, you got my email, right? If you send me like your address information, I'll send you something, dude. I need to get something out to you, man. You're like the highest tier member, and you've signed up a bunch of other people, and I need to do something for you. I don't have that unrested rap song ready to go yet, but I can definitely send out some original art to you. I owe you that at least. So remember, you can either do my name, Scott M. Ackerman at Gmail, or you can do the official unrested. Hold on. At gmail.com. Unrested at gmail.com. I mean, of course, like any of you can message me there if you just want to talk in private or whatever. you got some serious questions about Japan or anything that's on your mind, really. But seriously, Thrustavius, send me your information. I'll get you some art out ASAP. All right. Never ever better for you to pull the plug. Got to tell yourself you're just wrong if you're thinking like that. I hated losing the jobs I had, but looking back, they didn't fit me at all. Same with relationships. Yeah, Kiana's got a good point here. When you look back at the relationships that didn't last, it's because they were never going to work. That's why. And it's the same thing with the jobs, too. There's a job, you either quit, maybe you got fired, maybe you got laid off. That job was never going to be your forever job. So don't look back on it as a failure. Look back on it as a way that you were able to chip off something that you knew you couldn't live with forever. So you had to like move on to better things. And sometimes, guys, even when you're losing jobs like this, I will tell you, this is from like a long history of, switching jobs, of quitting jobs. I've been fired from jobs. If there's one thing I've figured out after all this time is that if you're ever blaming yourself for having lost a job or been laid off or been fired, it's not always that you're lazy or not a good worker or, you couldn't fit the company that well. Sometimes a job is just not right at all for you. I can tell you now, there has been places I've worked for where I felt like complete trash, where I was getting yelled at, or they were never satisfied with something. And I felt like, man, dude, I got to work harder. I got to figure out how to do better here. Like, I got to fit in by doing this or acting this certain way. Oftentimes, when there's that many things hitting you from a job like that, it's often the job and not you. When you find that right job, you'll finally realize that like you've always been a pretty good worker, you've always had pretty good ideas, you are actually valued, and when you do find that job that does value you, you'll realize that it's been there all along. Just those other jobs were filled with assholes. It was never you. I mean, don't get me wrong. You probably will see some stuff you did in the past. You're like, oh, I could have done this a little better. I could have been a little bit more professional about this. That's always going to happen. That's just part of like maturing with work culture in general, and procuring like a long-term career path throughout your life. But there is many times where I've seen like I thought like I was a really shitty worker. I thought like I was like, man, I was such a failure at that job. And then I'd go to another one and try to work my best, and they'd really be appreciative. Like they'd always be like, oh my God, like you're working so hard and like you've done all this stuff for us. And, like that's kind of how I feel now at the job I'm at now, where it's like every skill I have, I'm able to put to use. And not only that, it's appreciated and like it's loved and it's, I'm cared for. And like I realize now, like I've always had these talents. I've always tried to use them in jobs. Some jobs are kind of like, oh, that's great that you can do that, whatever. Like, and some jobs were like, yeah, okay, like, but can you do this better? Like, all they would do is point out the things I was failing at or not getting great at. And that's actually like a shitty job if that's all they do. Like, it's okay to tell you, like, when you screw up or you fail or you don't do good at something. But if they don't balance that with the compliments of what you do well at the job, then that's a shitty company and that's a shitty boss. Um, you're always going to have observations that can tell you how to improve and acclimate yourself better to either the environment or the work culture or, the logistics of whatever you're doing. Like that's like constructive criticism type stuff. It's like, all right, you're doing great at this and this. Here's some areas you could use some improvements at, and you start to come up with your own systems to be able to do that. But if all they do is pick apart everything you do and tell you where you're failing all the time and never ever highlight anything that you stick to, do well at, or are proficient at, that's a shit job. That is not you being a failure. That's the job's failure to appreciate your hard work and talent. Oh, power mode. I got to get the charger. Don't ever let a job do that to you. In fact, if you are at a job like that where all they do is give you negative reinforcement, quit that fucking job, man. Get the hell out of there. That is utter work hell. Okay. Just the usual noises, ghosts. Ooh, Alejandro, you got like a ghost story or something? All right, let me catch back up with you guys here. Ghost tea. Ooh. If it's ghost tea, would it be Boo Long Chow? Get it, Boo Long Chow? Ooh. I'll see myself out. All right, let's see what we got here. Same with relationships, LOL. Yeah, I would say the same thing with relationships too. If you have a relationship where all the person does is tell you about how you could be a better girlfriend or boyfriend, that's a shit relationship. We can always, of course, be better, spouses, wives, husbands, partners, anything, right? There's always improvement we can make. I mean, God knows I've had to really make some leaps and bounds with improving myself. But if that same person you're with never highlights the times where you really pull through and you're there for them, or never says like thank you or I love you or you're always there for me in this kind of situation, that's also a shitty relationship you need to get out. There needs to be a balance with everything that you're in as far as like long-term social and work-based relationships. All right. MG Golf. You need to do a perfect grade at some point, guys. You need to build yourself at least one perfect grade before, you can't do your bucket list anymore. Make sure you add perfect grade Gundam to your bucket list. At least one. Took me like 3 days one time, but I built it. There's like actually like wiring and lights that attach and like battery compartments, and it gets wild. Just do the perfect grade Zaku. You'll be happy with that. I do volunteer work now, but I love it so much. We'll start to study again next year, though. Gonna do art therapy. Art therapy's good. That's a good idea. There is some times where I wish I could use my art in that way. But it gets into like psychology and everything like that. Well, then 1/10 was my first, but I love 5 and 12. Which Final Fantasy is your favorite? Probably my favorite was 10's the one where you fight Sin, right? That's probably my favorite. My roommate and I in college worked together to beat that game, and it just went on and on and on and on. And he was a good dude, man. He was like a really picky, kind of crabby, sort of um, very pessimistic, but deep down inside was like a really good person, like had a really good heart, would always be there for you, but was just always very pessimistic. And I have really good memories of him being my roommate and good dude overall. And there's a couple games we beat together, like Silent Hill 2 was one of them, and Final Fantasy 10. And I still have really good memories of that, even though he was like he was so pessimistic and sarcastic. Really intelligent guy though. Ended up working for the what is it called? Associated Press, the one that's always AP. Incredibly intelligent guy. Dark Souls has translated into my life. John Manbob, I totally relate to what you're saying. I totally understand what you mean. Where you kind of like bang your head into a wall and everyone says like, dude, you're just going to get brain damage. And then one day the wall tumbles down and they're all wrong. That's kind of the way Dark Souls is, where you're like, I finally got past it. Yeah, handling the relationship first so you can accept your new reality is paramount. Yeah. Yeah, Thrusty's got it right. Ikram, if you've never played Dark Souls, I feel like Dark Souls is kind of a depression killer. Like it's good for beating depression. Like I don't know how to explain it. I've heard like lots of people talk about that like Dark Souls got them out of a depression. All right, let me catch up to where we're at the bottom. I kind of always keep going back through to see what I'm missing as I'm reading other people's comments. All right. Ooh, you did a perfect grade already, John, man? I've only done Zaku perfect grade. Thing was freaking massive. I want to do one more. I want to do one more perfect grade. Maybe I'll get myself one for Christmas. The last relationship is how I knew it was over. I could see the good in her, but all she saw was my flaws. Just too much resentment had built up. Yeah, man. If someone's there just like nitpicking how you can be better, like there's nothing wrong with that. Like as far as like your, you know, other half telling you like, I love you, but I really wish you could do this and this. Like, that's okay. That's part of compromise. Like, you need to actually listen to that input. But if that's all it ever is them telling you, like, I love you, but you're just not good at doing this and you suck at doing this and you really could be better. And like, after you have a fight, um, unless like you've done something like so stupid that you really are 100% to blame. If after you have a fight, that person's able to come up to you, you guys both say sorry to each other for fighting, and then they're able to pick out parts in the fight where you were actually right and they were wrong, and vice versa, you're able to do the same thing with them. That's a good person. You need to stick with that person. But if they come out and like you always have to bow down, like, sorry, I was 100% wrong all the time. I'm such an idiot. And they're like, yeah, you are an idiot. Stop being an idiot in the future. Like if that's all they ever give you in feedback after a fight, because dude, every couple fights, like there's no such thing as being married, long term or having a relationship long term and not fighting. If they're not able to pick out parts or like, oh yeah, I know when we fought, like I do wish you would have done this and this, but I also shouldn't have yelled about this and this, or like if they're able to reflect on themselves too and like realize they got too far into it, or maybe they said something that was too crass or whatever, that's when you've got a good person who's got balance, able to reflect on themselves, to be introspective and realize there is not like a 100% winner in most silly fights you have as couples. And most of them, you're going to find out like a lot of them are really silly. Like, most times what happens is there's some kind of panic going on in a person's mind, and that's how the fights erupt. And when I say panic, I don't mean like houses on fire must run type of panic, but like panic in an emotional way. Like you get suddenly too angry, you suddenly get too scared about something, you suddenly get too sad about something, and you take it out on that other person. And maybe they do have something to do with the fact that you are having that panic feeling, but later that person's able to realize like, okay, like let's say you spent too much money and they start panicking about money, right? And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you spent that much. You're an idiot. Like, we don't have that much in the bank and we need to think about the future and all this stuff. And you're like, dude, sorry. Like, all I bought was like some extra food or something. Like, you in your mind, you're like, oh, it wasn't a big deal. I just bought like a bunch of extra snacks I wanted to eat this weekend or something like that. And then later you get into a big fight. And then later you're able to be like, okay, that kind of is stupid of me to be buying all this extra shit when I should just be buying essentials. And the other person's like, yeah, I'm glad you understand that. And in the future, please, tell me about what you're going to be shopping for at the grocery store so we don't overspend sometimes. But I also understand that like it's your weekend and you want to sit down and relax and have a few snacks. So I understand why you did buy them. But like in the future, let's both try to be a little more frugal. There's some stuff I can give up to that I need to be also looking at myself as far as how I'm spending. And like, when you hear both people go back and forth and able to say, this is where I was totally wrong and I'm sorry about this. Here's where you were actually right and I shouldn't have yelled at you about that. If you reach points like that in your relationship where you can see eye to eye like that after a fight, then you've definitely got something good going on. And what you're actually going to find over time is the silly fights like that. start to become like less and less and less. And if they don't, what's happening is you're starting to grow apart rather than grow together. The more you grow together as a couple, the more reasonable you are with each other's compromises. And you also start to realize, like, I'm just not even going to do that because I know that's going to piss her off. I need to think about this, like, a couple steps ahead and realize, okay, yeah, if I do blow a whole lot of money over this weekend on silly shit, she's going to be upset. So I'm not going to do that. Now, if I really get a craving for something that I want to buy, I can tell her. And, maybe she'll let me know, like, oh, yeah, I got like, a little extra this week, or you got a little extra this week. You didn't check your bank account. Yeah, indulge yourself a bit. And then you've already thought a couple steps ahead and avoided these fights because you've grown closer as a couple rather than farther away by ignoring each other's, likes and dislikes, pet peeves, and what triggers the other person. That's really what marriage is all about. It's about like learning how to not change yourself for that person, but to learn how to mold your reactions to things around what does best for them, and them also doing the same thing for you. It's a compromise. It's a constant compromise. And once you start to work out that perfect meld of you two being together and how you handle each other's lives and stuff like that, you grow closer together rather than farther apart. It's the people who refuse to compromise, who think everything they do is perfect, impeccable, and without flaw. Those are the people that grow farther and farther apart because they never get to know the other person deeper. They only think about, like, well, this is what I want, so fuck them. I don't care. Like, that's ridiculous that they would yell at me just for this simple thing. For me, it's no big deal, and for them, it should be no big deal either. That's the people who just later in life, they're like, I don't get it. Every person I'm with gets angry at me, and then we like get broken up or divorced or whatever. You've never learned how to compromise your entire life. And compromising doesn't mean forcing you to become a different person or giving up who you are or giving up your loves and hates and stuff like that. That's not what I'm talking about when I say a compromise. A compromise is learning how you can better predict the other person's attitude, resilience, and pretty much ethos towards the way that you're most comfortable living your life. And then also making sure you start to mold yourself that even though you do have a way you love to live your life, that way is not intruding upon the things that trigger that other person. And vice versa for them too. They need to learn that too. Both people are very, very responsible for not being reactive, rather being proactive about making a better path for the marriage. Perfect grade unicorn. My wife got me. Oh, I thought you were going to say your wife is the perfect grade unicorn that you found. Got something impersonate my friend's voice and try to coax me into the kitchen once. That's freaky. Wait, like a ghost did that? That sounds super creepy. Yeah, X's Sin, a best total package of combat and story. Yeah, Josh, that one was really good. I really liked that one. Even though Titus has like that creepy, weird laugh, I still really like that one. 3 and 6 were your favorite. Okay, yeah, 3 was actually really good. Man, you want to hear something about Final Fantasy 3 that always kind of pisses me off? I let a friend break. I moved to St. Louis at one point in my life. It was only for like a year and a half, and I let a friend borrow Final Fantasy 3 on the SNES. And I kept asking them for it back before I moved, and they never did. Never got it back, and I lost Final Fantasy 3 because of that. I hope I can sleep tonight. I'll sleep with my light on. What's wrong? Are you scared, Alejandra? Jonah, there's a creepy pasta called I Heard It Too. Very creepy. I'll have to check that out. I'm currently trying to better myself physically. Oh, by the way, welcome to the stream, Humpty Dumpty. Always great to see someone who's been around for a while with these streams. I am currently trying to better myself physically to, I guess, kind of keep my boyfriend. I've literally gotten... You've had to get plastic surgery to keep your boyfriend? Humpty Dumpty, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, if you're like you know, I can understand certain things like getting in better shape to stay with somebody, like especially like if you have a very active life with that person or that person like likes to be more active, or like let's say you're in a marriage and you have kids and you've kind of like it's okay to let yourself get out of shape a bit, but like if you've let yourself get so out of shape that you can't be active with your kids and their indoor or outdoor activity is lessened because of that, I can understand getting yourself in better shape to better facilitate that. But to physically have to alter your body to keep somebody, like, go surgery level, I don't know. I mean, I'm not here to tell you what to do or not do, but I feel like no matter what, everyone we marry has a shelf life on how they look. That's why I always tell people to never marry someone for a hot piece of ass, no matter what. That hot piece of ass has a shelf life. If you're marrying them, you're in it for the long haul. You need to be marrying for that person inside, right? You need to be marrying that person who can keep you feeling all right inside too. If there's times where you've been like really distraught, maybe super sad, maybe really depressed, and that's when that person really came through and like helped pull you out of that dark time, that's the kind of thing you fall in love with. Don't fall in love with like how somebody looks or like there's, their fashion's so great. I mean, it's fine if like you're into fashion and stuff like that and you do think it's cute or love it, but you need to look for the things that are not something that has a shelf life. And things like fashion, things like beauty, things like, aesthetics of a person's physique all have a shelf life. What doesn't have a shelf life is empathy and sympathy, as far as like that person being able to pull you out of a dark place, cheer you on when you're in a good place, and be a rock for you when you need to be steady and head it down like a straight and narrow. You know what I mean? Those are the things you need to fall in love with. Someone who shows you that kind of resilience. Fall in love with someone for having a level head and a logical mind. Those things, they don't dilapidate over time. My mom thinks it's witchcraft. Typical Mexican mom. Gotta love her. I've seen little girl ghost when I was like 7. A few months later, my neighbor told me the people before us had a little girl who lived in the hallway closet. Ooh, spooky. Whoa, like a ghost tried to lure you out by saying it had something cool to show you? Were they riding in a white van that said free candy painted on the side? Because that wasn't a ghost. I have really in-depth mechanics, but they don't explore them. Okay. Super sarcastic and negative. You're describing all my friends. Ha ha ha. Yeah, Josh, um, I don't think there's anything wrong with being like super sarcastic, or being like pessimistic or negative. Um, I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as there's a balance. Like, it's okay to be sarcastic. My wife and I are very sarcastic with each other, and we love sarcastic jokes and stuff like that. But if that's something that the person can't turn off and they constantly use that as a coping mechanism, that's like a bad sign for, well, I know you're just talking about your friends and stuff though, like, but I'm just saying, like, for other people talking about relationships, like, if even when you reach out for help, all you receive is something negative or sarcastic in like your darkest times, then you might as well be reaching out for nothing. If anything, you might just be reaching out for a deeper hole to fall into. All right. Hearing ghost stories from Mexican family friends is the most. Yeah, dude, some like Central America and South American ghost stories and stuff. I'd say they border on the same level as like Japanese level scary, where it's just kind of like not too goofy to be like unrealistic, um, not too real to be like, okay, obviously just a bump in the night, but somewhere in between where you're like, that sounds possible, but that also sounds so sort of mystical or spiritual that it's really creepy. All right. So sick and scary. Whoa, what? We found some weird stuff outstairs. Dead pigeons, coins, a big tick. A big tick? How big? Shit got real after a game of Loteria and a pack of Modelo. I've had some pretty heavy sleep paralysis demons. Man, sleep paralysis is super scary. Whew. My neighbor had several images of Jesus and other figures on her door and hallway. Like, they kept images for like protection or something? Okay, Dark Souls definitely looks very cool. That gothic fantasy feel. Oh, if you love gothic fantasy, then Ikram, you have to play Dark Souls. Just Ikram, my only advice is don't don't be frustrated if even the first boss kills you like the first time you try to play it. Also, I would suggest I don't know if I would suggest Dark Souls 1. I might actually suggest Dark Souls 3 to start with. And like don't get frustrated too quick if you get killed by the first boss right away. The first time I ever played that game, I bought it because I was like, I had beaten Skyrim like a billion times, and I asked people like, "Is there no other RPG out there worth playing?" And they're like, "Do Dark Souls." And I think it was on sale. It was like $20 or something at the time. I bought Dark Souls 3, got to the first boss, got my ass kicked, and was like, "What the hell is this shit? How the hell am I even supposed to like get past this thing?" Um, and then I didn't play it again for another 3 years. And I tried for the first time to play with like a rogue or a thief or whatever it's called, where they have like a way faster attack. And I realized if I got up real close and attacked super fast, I could kill it. And I was like, oh, weird. So I had to have some kind of strategy to kill this thing, not just like mash buttons. And then I fell in love with the game and played every single one of them and went back and played part one and even bought Demon Souls and bought a PS5 just so I could have Demon Souls and Bloodborne. And all right, I want to get. Oh, who just joined on? Geographer Matt, welcome, bud. Welcome to the stream, bud. All right, let me grab. I'm gonna just be right back. I'm just gonna grab myself a protein bar or something.
Okay.
All right. Sorry for the long wait, guys. I was taking forever to make up my mind. Hey, Alexa, turn off kitchen.
Okay.
All right. Let me catch up to where we're at here now. All right. What are we talking about? This conversation has digressed. It's okay. Okay, tonight when the stream stops, I'm gonna jump on Discord and talk to everybody. I need to start to get used to adding that. I think like during the week, I'm not gonna start streaming any day of the week. Like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, very doable, very easy to do. Actually, I don't know this Friday. I don't know what's going on with my school. We may or may not have a Halloween celebration. If we do, I can't make it this Friday. But I do want to check in with you guys through the week on the Discord, and I need to get better about that damn Discord. Oh, HT, you're saying at 27 you spend too much and you don't sleep properly. Yeah, man, sleep is important. It's something I've always struggled with. That's why my name's Unrested. Man, that protein bar is crazy good. Holy cow. If there's one thing I could say that I wish my younger self could do was be better with money. You really need to have a lot more respect for money. That was something it took me a very long time to be more mature about. I've always been awful with money, and it took me probably till I was like in my 40s to finally calm down. If you beat DS1, you will be way better at DS3. That is so true. Not only that, if you beat DS1 and then you play DS3, DS3 makes a lot more sense to you. I did it all backwards. I started with Dark Souls 3, couldn't fully beat it. Then, since I couldn't beat it, I still love the games. So, what did I go back and play? Oh, so I went back and I started to play Dark Souls 1. I was still pretty bad at that. Then while I was playing Dark Souls 1, Elden Ring came out. That was the first one I actually beat. I beat Elden Ring. And I was like, wow, so it like is possible for me to actually beat these games. So then I went back to Dark Souls 1 and I kept grinding and grinding. I'm not good. I'm not good at these games at all. You know what my strategy is? Level up until I'm strong enough to beat everything. I mean, I start to learn like a little bit, like Smo and Ornstein. That one I actually got good at that fight because I fought them so many goddamn times. Um, and I'd say I actually got really good at Dark Souls 1 finally by the time I beat it. And then after I beat that one, I finally went all the way back to Dark Souls 3, and then I was finally able to beat that one too. And my God, Dark Souls 3 seems like after you beat Dark Souls 1 and you beat Elden Ring, Dark Souls 3 seemed like super easy. Like I couldn't believe how easy the bosses seemed to me in that. Even what was that one, like the dancer or whatever? I used to think the dancer was like the most incredibly difficult boss ever. And when I went back to beat that boss, I was just like, oh, this is nothing. Just stay close to that back leg and keep following it around and eventually falls pretty easy. Yeah, okay, so Thrusty, you're with me on this, right, Josh? Like you said, that's crazy that you had to alter yourself to stay with that person. Yeah, Humpty. If someone's asking you to like make permanent surgical changes on yourself to stay with someone, no. No. You need to find someone who loves you just for you. I could never imagine asking someone to get plastic surgery. Uh, yeah, okay. Alejandra agrees too. Yeah, like, look, I don't want to tell people what to do with their life, but that's a situation where I just can't make any sort of logic out of it. I can't say there would be a good reason. If you need to get surgery to be healthier, like, the doctor says, like, if you got this surgery, you'd be like more mobile, or you'd be like, healthier and live a like fuller life, and you're afraid to get surgery, and your partner's like, no, you should really do it so that you can, that's the kind of surgery I could see somebody getting behind. But aesthetic surgery, alterations to how you look to stay with somebody, that's a big no. Yeah, please leave that person. All right, what is the situation? Okay, so like I'm glad you feel like you got more confidence from the surgery and everything like that. Um, and if like you feel happy with it, I'm glad that outcome came from it. But now it's time for you to think about just you. Like, this person obviously only felt they needed to think about their needs, their wants, who they want you to be, who they need you to be. Now it's time for you to find a person who actually fulfills more than just the very aesthetic needs that they want out of you. You need to find someone who loves you for you, man. That's like this, yeah. And if this guy doesn't move out, like, I don't know what the financial situation is. If this dude doesn't move out, you move out. You get this person away from your life. This is like a deep, empty well that will like constantly drown you and stuff you down there until they've taken everything out of you. Get as far away from a person like that. Personal ghost. Ooh, Thorstavius got a personal ghost story. My personal ghost story is me and my brothers were sleeping in our grandma's basement, which had no windows and a bolted door, no draft. Like 5 people have died in that house, and we're mocking. I'm sorry. And we were mocking the idea of ghosts calling out that if they were real to come show themselves, and that they were pussies. Well, around 3 a.m., we were all piled into an air mattress trying to sleep. Hold on. This is getting good. Holy cow, I like it. And we heard a weird whooshing sound, then a hard thud. We turned on the light, and in the middle of the hallway was a T-Rex toy that belonged to my dead cousin facing directly towards the bed. Whoa. For a second there, though, I thought you were about to like find out you were pulling our leg, and like you're like, there's a T-Rex in the basement gonna eat me. I was like, what the hell? No, but finding the toy and stuff, that's pretty creepy, man. Holy cow. And it was a dead cousin who left it there. Oof. Hmm. That's interesting. Let's see have I ever had like a for real ghost story ever? I don't think I've really had anything super ghosty happen to me. Hmm. I'm gonna pop out for a bit. I'll try to check back in. All right, now, Winter. Take it easy, man. If I don't see you, have a great night, okay, bud? All right. I think I'm caught up on everything. Where's this conversation going? I'm reading like all this serious stuff, and then out of nowhere, Hogo69 says, That'd be pretty dope to be a dolphin and be able to be the king of the high seas. I'm like, whoa, okay. That took a real left turn on. I am happy though to see like a really like off the wall comment like that in the middle of all the really serious stuff. All right. DS3 is your favorite? Yeah, I think of all the Dark Souls. I don't know, maybe God, it's hard to choose between part 1 and part 3. Part 2, I don't know what the fuck is going on with that game. Like, I haven't beaten it yet. I've gotten pretty far into it. I forget. I'm at some part where I'm just like, what the hell? I think I'm at some part. I can't remember where I am. I'll have to go back and look at that. Sekiro, I've just given up on. I don't think I'm ever gonna beat Sekiro. Bloodborne gets really hard, and Demon. What the hell is up with Demon Souls? Like, that game's like insane hard. All right. I hated that battle. I was so close to destroying the controller with them with the Smo and Ornstein. Yeah. The funny thing about Smo and Ornstein is I didn't quite understand how um I didn't understand how summoning worked, and I kept thinking I was summoning somebody to help me beat them. But I realized later I was only helping other people beat them, so I beat them over and over and over and over and over again until I really understood like what the best way was to beat them, and then I never summoned anybody and beat them solo by myself. So it was kind of fun. I never ended up summoning anybody for all of Dark Souls. I beat the whole thing like with no summons at all. Make it easier. My name is actually Eric. Okay, Tattoo Games. I'm just gonna call you Eric from now on. I like it when I do find out people's real names. Like I can call Throstavius Josh. Tattoo Games is Eric. That feels better. Don't look at our shameful acts unarrested. Uh-oh, I'm going back through here. Message retracted. What did you say? Oh no. Oh God. All right. I don't need to read that one out loud. Bought tiny socks one time because they're what? You bought tiny Dragon Ball Z socks? What is going on with this conversation? All right, let's see. Not sure if you're on Discord, but wait. Okay, we're all gonna hop on the Discord after this. We're gonna have some soul talk, and I don't mean Dark Souls, like soul to soul talk. I want to jump on there for like the rest of the week. That way, like we all stay in touch through the week and just catch up with each other a little bit. Scott seeing the free. It's okay. I went to art school, guys. There's nothing you're gonna say to me that's like gonna shock me more than the stuff I heard from people in art school. Let's see. A homie of mine has a video of some creepy La Lorena stuff going on in his property. Whoa, really? Jonah, can we see that? I want to see like stuff about La. I'm not gonna pronounce it right, but I know what La Llorona. I know what the whole mystery with that stuff is, with the like lady crying by the river and stuff. Eric, you had a few incidents in your life where you had like paranormal stuff. You should, if you feel comfortable with it, you should share it with us sometime, man. Yeah, see, Ricardo wants to see the scary video too, man. Y'all can call me Dylan. Okay. John, all this time I'm calling you John. Why didn't you call yourself Dylan Man Bob? Must have been. All right, Dylan. Yeah, first Josh says, Dylan, why you got three motherfucking first names, bro? Yeah, Josh, I agree. It's just your gamer tag. Okay. All right, Dylan, I'll remember that. My one of my best friends at school, the school I work at, his name's Dylan, so I can remember that. All right. Plastic surgery is definitely a touchy subject. I definitely agree to have it done for those with disfigurement. It sucks how the industry profits from insecurity and fuck that person who made you do it. Yeah. I will say though, I am glad to hear though, Humpty Dumpty, I'm really glad to hear that you were happy with the results. Um, I mean, that's something at least good you can walk away with. I had a friend who she was in the same situation where she got plastic surgery on her nose for a boyfriend. And then later, when they broke up, she was actually really happy that she got it done anyway. But then she was able to, keep it for her self confidence for future boyfriends who treated her much better and didn't force her into something like that. And it gave her more confidence and stuff like that. And she could like hold her head a little higher as she, entered back into the dating world, which I was happy to see for her. But I just, there's some stuff people go through. Like the worst ones I've ever heard is people who got like makeup tattooed on for a boyfriend or someone like that. And then later they really regret what they got. Because I would never understand that because like makeup trends change all the time, right? I mean, I'm not a girl and I know that kind of stuff, right? Why would you ever get it tattooed on, right? Like what? I've seen some where they end up looking like a clown almost forever. That's sad, man. I guess at least you can laser it off your face, but still, I think like some of the ones around your eyes, I don't know if they can do it. All right. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm in the Discord right now. Is there anybody who can't get into the Discord right now? Actually, let me do this. Okay, Sakimo Ricketts. Okay. Wait, Ala. Sure. Let me just check something real quick. I need to fix a bunch of stuff in the dang Discord. Wait, so okay. I'm gonna change one thing here. Manage channel access. How do I You haven't created any roles. Okay. Who would be interested? Any of you on right now? Would you be interested in being given a level high enough in Discord that you could create roles? Um, and who would be interested in being a high enough moderator role that you can kind of police, um, just if you see anything that's kind of, you know, because as I make this more accessible, I'm going to try and open this up so we have everybody on there again with like viewers and everything like that. But one mistake I really made the last time I did this is I just started the whole damn thing with nobody in any kind of roles or anything like that. I didn't have any little jobs created or anything like that. And the thing is like I don't want to make somebody, in charge of something that's going to feel like a chore in their life. Because this is obviously stuff that's like not paid. I don't have money to pay somebody to be a moderator where I mean I guess you wouldn't have to be on there long enough to make it like a full-time job, but just like to check for things that are just like, if you see people starting to fight, because that was a problem I had last time. I didn't make anybody a moderator or anything like that. And one day I came home after like a long day of work and there was this long ass rant and fight and people trying to get my attention to kick people out, and after that I kind of like gave up on the whole thing I was doing there and kind of left it, and I put one of my friends in charge of it, but it was kind of like too far gone at that point. Like there was all this chaos in there. Okay. Uh, okay, there's a couple things I want to do. I want to make someone like a head of all the different stuff. Like you can give other people jobs. Then I want to get somebody who's cool with like kind of just being like, I don't know, Discord moderator where like you just check for anything that's you're like, that's getting too heated, or, cool off for a bit before you come back to the room. And one other thing I want to try and do this week, I don't know which day of the week, but I'd like to jump into a voice chat with a few of you. In the future, I see the possibility, and this is something I've never really tried before, but choosing a topic and making it the key idea of a video live stream that we have in a voice chat, and only those who feel comfortable might actually be in a voice chat that we could record to have a sort of roundtable talk about a hot topic. And of course, it would probably be like some kind of international Japan related topic, or maybe like a comparison topic where we would talk about how is this handled in one country and how is this handled in another country. I feel like that could add a whole new. I mean, first of all, the best part about it is it would like just be good for us as friends. Like jumping into voice chat and talking as like, I think people become more real to you when you're hearing voice too. It would also help with us shooting around ideas for improving things like the Discord and for the live shows and for streaming and stuff like that. But then it would also let me know like who is comfortable enough to be on a VC room and, not worry about being recorded. And of course, I would never ever record unless I told you like way ahead of time. I would never just be like, hey, you're being recorded right now. Like, don't worry if you ever jump in there. Like, I would make a massive warning. It would be predicted for days and, scheduled for days ahead of time and multiple warnings before anything would ever be recorded in there. So, and plus we'd probably have to start like a secondary, like not actual general voice chat. It would be like for live voice chat only room. I need to get into this thing though and really customize our Discord, and I'm going to need some people in charge of stuff, and I'm going to need to really customize it to work better for us. So I'm going to sign off here on streaming. Hold on, I'm going to jump back into chat real quick just to see what you guys are talking about here at the end. Okay, Dylan, you're down to be in a voice chat at some point. Okay. You can moderate the moderators, or Kiana, are you in there already? So one problem I've kind of done is like I've made a members chat room, but I've noticed I've totally screwed it up where just anybody can go in there, which I'm not mad about if anybody did. Like if they're not a member and they're in there, it's my fault for not fully understanding Discord. But I need to start to create rooms. Kiana says they're cool with being moderator of moderators, which I need. There'd be like a head moderator. We'll have to just talk about it in there about like jobs we need. Also, guys, don't be afraid to shout at me if I'm like not assigning something properly, or like there's a room you're like, why doesn't our place have this Discord room? Every other Discord I'm in has, like, shout at me, be like, I think it would help if we added this. Because I've done Discord before. I know how it works, but I want to get this one so it's kind of like customized for, us, like us as friends, as a group, rather than, us just opening it up to the public at large, I want to keep it kind of like how the live streams feel, where it feels like we're a close group of friends rather than just a like, yeah, I guess anybody pop your head in here and shout something. I want to make it more like revolves around us. And, you know, anybody else who chooses to join later down the line. Okay. All right. So, guys, I'm going to post a link real quick. Copy link. Paste. Okay, that should be the link. Before I sign off for today, I want to make sure everybody's able to join and get in there. I'm going to take down, I'm not going to take it down, but I'm going to like change the properties of the one that says membership room. We're going to eventually figure out how to make all the specific rooms that we need. We'll make like one for Osoroshi that people who want to come in there and be like, oh, I heard this story, or I have a question about this horror thing, or have you ever heard of this yokai? And then I want to have another one where it's like JFAQ, where you just come in and pop in with JFAQ. Every once in a while, someone still hits me with a question where I'm like, I have never talked about that. Then I want to have like a general one. I don't know. I got to hop in there and start to do this right after. But okay, give me a head staff role in there. Okay, I will. Josh, I'll give you one. Don't worry. Oh, you also emailed me your art. Okay, I'll definitely be getting you some art, dude. Don't worry. All right. Yeah, everybody jump in there who wants to be in there. If you're not a fan of Discord, don't worry. I'm not going to love you any less if you don't want to join. It's fine. But if you do want to join and you do feel comfortable and you feel like there's a role you would be really good at, let me know while we're in there. My goal for this week is to check Discord and chat in Discord a few times every day and get it kind of customized, and maybe at some point even test voice chat. And we need to get a room for us to be able to play a role-playing game at some point. How do you do that even with like, I don't know. Well, this is what we'll talk about. I'm not going to try and figure all this out while I'm live on stream. All right, guys, this is cool. One last check. Does anybody need the link anymore to join? If you yourself are watching this right now, I guess comment on this video. If you're unable to join the Discord for some reason and you saw this video, you watched all the way through, wow, first of all, thank you. I can't believe you did that. But second of all, as you can see, we're trying to get things rolling more on the Discord. It used to be a members only thing. I'm trying to open it up completely to viewers. If you do join, realize, we try to keep it pleasant. We try to, we're all a polite group of friends here who really think about how others feel and are an open ear and a shoulder to cry on or lean on. And that's kind of the same friendly feel that I want to keep going with this. If that's not something you feel like you can do, it's okay. No pressure or obligation for anybody to join. If you do feel like you'd like to join and, you're coming with an open mind and an open heart, I think you're the type of person we'd like to have on there. There's no requirements. There's no need of knowledge of my channel or who I am or the other people on there are. Just come in there with the golden rule in your mind and your heart, right? Treat others as you want to be treated. And that's all we would ask. It's the only verification card you need to bring in there, the golden rule card. And like I said, if you aren't able to get in, comment on the video, say, Scott, I want to join the Discord too, but I don't know how, or I don't know where a link is or anything like that. I'll post another link in the comments. I'll pin it, and we will see you on there. And guys, I'm going to talk to you in just a bit here as I sign off. I'll join you in Discord now. I have joined. I also emailed you the address. Okay. Does anybody else need a link before I turn this off? Are we all good? All right. If I don't see you on there and you're headed off for the night, you guys have a great night. And I'll talk to you